This is Out Loud and Laughing.
in partnership with Outright International. What is up, Chosen Fam? Welcome back to the studio. Today, we are sitting down with an absolute visionary whose work proves that a single image can hold a revolution. He is a world renowned visual artist, filmmaker, and photographer whose lens captures the raw, beautiful, and sometimes heartbreaking realities of queer kinship, identity, and displacement. From the galleries of Brazil to the global stage, his art doesn't just ask us to look, it demands that we feel. Recently honored by Outright International for his fierce advocacy, he is a creator who reminds us that existing openly is its own form of high art. Please welcome to the pod the brilliant, the beautiful Ghee Mohlim. Welcome, Ghee.
Thank you for being here. It's amazing. Thank you so much. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Ghee, the honor is ours. Obviously, we're incredibly stoked to have you here with us today. Outside of meeting you recently, we've also been immersed in your world, preparing for this, and honestly, all of the work that you're doing is breathtaking. Of course, before we get into the heavy hitting art talk and global movements you're working on here at Out Loud and Laughing, we like our chosen family to get to know you. And so, for anyone meeting you for the first time today, give us the Ghee origin story. Where are you currently speaking to us from? And what does a perfect, peaceful day look like in your world when you're not behind a camera or a canvas or canvassing for the world?
Okay, so my name is Ghee Mohlim. I am a Lebanese Brazilian. I'm first generation born in Brazil, Lebanese. And I come from a very small town in Brazil, 3 hours north of São Paulo in the mountains. It's a mountain, really important mountain range here, like as an ecosystem. And yeah, and I came to São Paulo first to be queer, but I came to do the excuse was doing film school. So when I was around 20. So today, a perfect like calm day would be for me to be in the farm, like high up in the mountains where I can see the clouds, like in a parallel way. Like I'm the same height as them. So like they do the parade of clouds at the end of the day with all the colors. For me, like hearing the birds and the change of crowds in the woods, like the day crowd, and then comes the night crowd and all the fireflies.
I mean, it sounds so serene. And Ghee, before we even hopped on, you were talking about this, and I have to ask so our audience can learn. Your house, your background looks so serene. Tell us about the walls. I think that is such an interesting story.
So when I was doing the painting for this house, I thought I should have a protection from this city. Because São Paulo is like New York, like 20 million people, hustle, 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 hustle all the time. You only see the people you work with, kind of thing. And I'm like, I need some protection. So the kind of protection would be to make the paint out of the soil of the land that I came from. So I brought the soil and I mixed it with glue and water, and the paint, the colors in the wall are actually soil that grows coffee in the south of Minas Gerais, which is my state.
So, every morning when you wake up, do you just lick your walls for your coffee
No,
fix? Or,
it's the soil. I would only do that. It had some worms in it, but I don't think I do some parasites right now.
all right, fine.
Only
Well,
when parasites coming, right?
oh, details.
Details,
Details.
details.
Um, Ghee, your work has taken you all over the globe, right? And you've captured so many subcultures and pockets of our community. So thank you for that. When you look back at the younger version of yourself, though, because I want to kind of rewind a little bit before the exhibitions and kind of the international acclaim, did you always see the world through a creative lens, or was there like a specific moment when you realized art was going to be your weapon and your sanctuary?
I love this question. Like, I love this question. So I was driven to art. I only started doing art when I finally came out to my father, which was like when I was like, no, 27, 28, the beginning of return, Saturn return kind of thing. So it took me a long time because I came from a very, like, I'm a third culture kid. Like, I come from the negotiation of the culture that I had in my house to the culture that I had in my country. So I'm much more similar to other Lebanese queer people than Brazilian queer people. So I had more restraints than my counterparts here had, and I felt very isolated. So I only started doing, like, allowing myself to do art and search for that career after that was taken care of. But when you say So, and our art has always, like since then, always been this kind of necessity. So it's not something that I do because I like doing it. It's not something, oh, I want to have fun. I like cooking. When I want to have fun, I cook. But photography or art is something that I need to do sometimes. It just calls me to do so, right? But to understand this as a weapon, so a sanctuary, yes, this has been going for a while, but understanding that this is also a weapon, this is something that I can actually we can actually work with, is something that came really, really recent, like something that I've been working on to like unite these characters, of the visual artist and the political organizer as one thing, like to understand my work in politics in Brazil as an work of art, and also understand that the art fuels the other in a very interesting way and shapes the other in a very interesting way. But this is only one person, and yeah, so being here, and talking about the what we got as the as an organization, but also as the art that I'm doing, it's something that I've never done before. So it's kind of a coming out moment for me right now. So I'm really excited about this. Like, it's a very exciting coming out moment. Yes.
What kind of themes, when you talk about being part of like this third culture, right? Having a Lebanese origin story, living in Sao Paulo today, and now you're talking about being an artist through that lens. What are some of the themes that you find naturally emerging? What are some of the stories that you gravitate towards showing or shining light on?
I think the overall theme of my life, I think, is belonging, right? So I come from like, how can a queer person belong in a Lebanese family? How can a Lebanese family belong in a country that doesn't speak even their language, or is a different country? How does a queer person belongs in the world, belongs in like, what is like belonging, something that everybody needs, and it's something that is denied to our communities from a very early stage. Like, many of us don't find belonging in our house, in our household, in our schools, in our worship places like our churches and stuff. So like, we have been denied belonging from a very early age. And when we turn up as adults, people think we should be functional adults. Like, good luck with that. Like,
Right?
how can you? So I think one of the so belonging is the thing. Belonging, migration, identity. This is something. This is the thing that I search. But I think belonging is something that connects, my work in so many ways. Because when I think about art and democracy, and about who gets to belong, who gets to participate, who gets to be counted and seen, I think this connects both work, like the work in art and politics at the same time, like in a very interesting way. So I think belonging is, I think, the core issue that I'm interested in, and I'm trying to build as well with my artwork and with my political organization, like, kind of role.
I mean, when you talk a little bit about belonging, but you also mentioned that art wasn't something you like to do, it's something you need to do. It feels like there's an element of therapy for yourself in this, right? Like, it's also like figuring out a way to take care of yourself, and art really fulfills some areas where maybe you weren't able to explore, to your point, with struggling growing up. But like, what does that do for you from a therapy standpoint?
Yeah, this is interesting because, like, I there's a thing about calling it therapy, because therapy is, the intention is to heal, right? So when you talk about therapy, you're talking about, like, have an issue, have an intention. Whereas art, it is really part of processing emotions. Like, sometimes when I take pictures, I like to spend months without looking at them. I let it pickle for a while, like ferment. Then again, I get to come back and look at them and edit
Yes.
them in the images in a way that is very revealing. So in a way, I understand what you're saying, because I understand a lot of my process and the things that I go through understanding what called my attention at the time. Like, when like, imagine, I don't know, like, right after coming out to my father, I ended up in this queer sanctuary with like 700 queer people holding hands and claiming our belonging to nature. And this was so overwhelming that I couldn't take any pictures. You know, like couldn't. This is not the moment for picture taking. It's the moment for living this. But then all of the things that this moment entails end up showing up in the work itself because I am changed and my look is changed. So, and some other people can see that in the work as well. And this is the most beautiful thing is that it's not a therapeutic to me necessarily, but by being very vulnerable and honest about, the my limitations even like through the work, other people can actually relate and actually, and see themselves in. So yeah, when I launched my first book in Brazil, it was one of the, like of that generation was one of the first books that coming from the inside, that looked at a queer community from a queer perspective. And I've been very much throughout these years, more than 14 years, really amazed by how the queer perspective is interesting, revolutionary, and much needed in this world right now. You know.
Wow. Well, obviously, thank you for sharing all that. And, you mentioned the queer perspective. And while a lot of that comes out in your work in an artistic sense, you're also doing a lot of this seeking in an activist sense. Brian and I were incredibly fortunate enough, as we mentioned at the opening, to have crossed paths with you at this year's Outright International Celebration of Courage. Um, to our audience and our chosen family who's not familiar, go check out the work that Outright is doing. It's incredible. Secondly, huge kudos and congratulations to you and your team, Ghee, on that win. We have to know though, because sitting in this audience and watching you accept this beautiful award, standing on that stage and looking at this room full of global activists and other people who are making changes and waves in the world, what did that recognition mean to you personally and as an artist who chronicles our history?
That moment was one of the most surreal moments in life. Like, was the first time when we actually felt seen. It's not only about recognition, it's about being seen. And we're so much overlooked by funders, by activists, by the left. Many of the times they think identity politics is something is derailing people from the left, which is actually what's driving people to the ballot box. So for me, it was very I felt so much love in that room. Like, it's not only that we met Cyndi Lauper, it's that Cyndi Lauper said we were badass on stage,
Yes.
and then that went
Mhm.
to print. It's not only that we met Cyndi Lauper, like she was clapping when we was talking, and she was not doing this, she was doing this. She was like raising her hands. It was like really so amazing to understand and see that what we've been building as a movement here, but also as a posture actually, right? It's like we are non-apologetic queer and we are citizens and we demand to be treated equally as any other citizens because we do pay our taxes. We do everything that everybody does. So we deserve to be running for office without being targeted by violence. Violence
Maybe
is not something that we should be taking care of, like each one of the leaders. It's a problem for democracy. If democracy can hold space for anyone to participate, this is not a democracy. And why are we sustaining this democracy with our collective money if we're not being
Mhm.
like taken care of? So this is something that really drives me crazy. How people think they can dehumanize us and treat us as non-citizens. This is not cool and this is not acceptable. We will not tolerate this. So over the past years, we've been building this movement in Brazil, and it's really great to be at this moment being recognized by Outright because Outright is the biggest organization in the world for queer people. They have programs like in more than 100 different countries, and these organization for 35 years they've been run by lesbians. So this is why it's so amazing and it's so centered with care.
Yes.
It was Julie Dorff, Jessica Stan, and now Maria Sojan. So like these are amazing women that I can actually look at them and say, wow, wow,
Guy,
thank you.
Guy, you dove right in, and I'm so glad you did because the passion like is unmatched. But can you just take a quick step back and tell us about the Vote LGBTQ project that you guys worked on and were
Yeah.
noted for?
Of course, of course. So Vote LGBT started like 12 years ago as a campaign. So we thought that just by point, so but when we started, we had only 3 out candidates because being out would be like political suicide, right? We knew about others, but they were not out. So we were trying to make people that were like friendly to queer people, right? So had
Mhm.
like us in their name. And we elected the worst Congress in history since the dictatorship. And we've been doing this since then. But by the time we felt like we failed and we depressed and everything. So, but when things turned really bad in Brazil, people called us back and told us like, this is a long time project. And it is, right? So in 10 years, so in 2024 was the first time where our we have a central electoral body in Brazil that governs all elections in the whole Brazil. And we got them to include in the form for candidates sexual orientation and gender identity, and the willing to disclose it or not, right? That was 2024. We went from 3 out candidates in 2014 to over 3,000 out candidates in 2024. Right? Being queer, like we do things about representation, about participation. We do secure, like we do protection for the people who are elected, like with AI systems, with psychological support, free and confidential. We do matching platforms for people to find their own candidates, which are non-partisan. Like we help people to go to the ballots, and we also produce intelligence, like with research and a lot of research and podcasts, books. We have a book launched this year in 3 different languages. Like we are doing many different things to build the infrastructure that democracy couldn't do for queer people. So we are building the queer infrastructure around. And what's happening in Brazil right now is really beautiful because not only we have a huge range in candidates, but we've been doubling the amount of queer people elected every election cycle.
Wow.
And this is I know it's really hard for podcasts to. Can I share some numbers? Because this is a really
Yeah,
crunchy, interesting numbers.
of course.
On
Yes,
the
love
past 2
numbers.
elections, which is like, your midterms and our presidential election, right? And our past 2 elections, we gathered more than 5.5 million votes towards queer, candidates. 78% of those votes went to women, so almost 8 in every 10 went to women. 67% of those votes, so almost 7 in 10, went to a Black candidate. And 1 in every 3 votes went to a trans candidate. So it's a we have built an intersectional electorate that are voting for queer people. So what happened is we have the biggest leader on the left in Brazil is a Black trans woman. Thank you.
Amazing.
You are very welcome. And
Thank
the
you.
thing is,
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah,
say.
you are welcome. Like you, democracy is very welcome. Like lucky
Yeah,
of nobody's, and I hate the word inclusion. I really do. Like nobody is voting on this woman to give this poor Black trans woman a chance. They are voting on her because she's the one changing politics. She's the one bringing innovation to politics. So, like, I hate when people call inclusion because we don't want to be included. Like, we have been creating technologies since the beginning. Like, the inventor of the computer, the inventor of AI is a queer person
yeah.
and was punished for that. So, like, we have been building this world. And lucky of the straight people that we're still willing to be joining them, like, and do the work because, like, they think they can, like, cast us aside. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You can't
Choose
do
to
this
include
without
us or
us.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do this without us. Seriously, you
Mhm.
can't.
I mean, you touched upon it a little bit, but obviously John alluded that the theme of the outright gala was around everyone, everywhere. And like we talked about when we met you, like the reality on the ground now is like heavy, right? Like with 125 million stripped away from global LGBTQ movements, frontline organizations, and vulnerable queer people, honestly, just facing like unprecedented risk.
Yes.
In a world, though, that's actively trying to defund our joy and erase our
Mhm.
safety, what does courage look like for you right now in this world?
Courage is not being fearful. It's not having fear. So courage is not having fear. It's being fearful and doing it anyway, right? So there's a saying with the queer leaders that they say, I will not be able to uh, give the person the right person the sorry. There's a quote. People say that fear we have it, but we don't use it, right?
I love it.
That's what we do. So I'll tell you a little story very quick. Just happened in São Paulo, right? We made this like historic partnership with São Paulo Pride, which is the biggest pride in the world, gathering like millions of people. And our research shows that 80% of people going to São Paulo Pride are going there for political reasons. So imagine that 80% of millions. This is the biggest political manifestation in the world, right? So what they did, they cut the funding in 60% because international brands, they didn't want like piss off your administration. So we have 60% less funding. Do you know what happened? We came out bigger. Like people turned out in huge numbers. Artists came and donated their fee to Pride because we need to be together. So when they try to erase us, we come out stronger. You know, there's this one another thing data about Brazil that is very interesting that I think you should know. One of our board members, she is an academic, and she conducts this research called Smiles, where they measure social acceptance in six different countries in the global south. And in the other five different global south countries, they measure it by asking people if they would like not to be queer if they had a chance to, right? So I call them regretful queers. That's my calling, not of the research. In other countries, the range would this number range from 40 to 60% of people who they interviewed would like not to be queer if they had a chance. The number in Brazil is 6% only.
Wow.
This
Wow.
means that 94% of Brazilian queers are proud to be who they are and would have not chosen to be otherwise if they could have chance.
The data
This
says it
changes
all.
everything.
Yeah.
And this
Mhm.
reflects on the polls as well, right? So we know that collective self-esteem is something we should invest on. It's something that translates in votes. And we've been
Beautiful.
doing this for 12 years alongside the Black women's movement, the Black movement, alongside other movements because we are intersectional movement. Queer people, we are everywhere. Like there's no single family without one of us. There's no single institution with some of us doing most of its innovation, you know? So if we manage to organize ourselves among the many places that we are and create this network, like do this thing not as a queer movement, but as a movement of queer people everywhere, we can actually change this world and make and bring many of the solutions that is necessary right now. That's what I believe. I really believe in our communities. I really believe in us.
Ghee, that's so beautiful. You know, it's really funny because here at Out Loud and Laughing, Brian and I are known for like great intros, and people are like, "Oh my god, if you read that again, like you could intro me." And you would be my intro person. Like, I want you to like intro me before you come into the room. Your passion, your knowledge. I really identify it so strongly with all of the ways you step forward, and with your art, your activism. You started to mention about Sao Paulo Pride. You know, much of your art, from environmental installations to photography, film works, it all touches on themes of what you were talking about earlier, right? Sanctuary, belonging, and the families that we choose. Um, Tell us a little bit about the project that you're working on now and how it's impacting your pride this year.
This is like I've been like because of the professional activism that I'm doing, the political organizing. I've been not being able to like be in a gallery for years. So like I haven't been, but I've been working on I've been doing work regardless because like it's not a job, it's something that I need to do. And I came back to this sanctuary that I told about in the beginning of the conversation where I was holding hands with 700 people. On that project, I released a book in 2012 and called Welcome Home. So about 11 years later, I returned to the mountain, to the sanctuary again. And I found a very different place because it was changed by the pandemic. It was changed by the Black Lives Matter. It was changed by everything that was going on. But also I was changed. After 11 years, I had been married for some time. I had been doing this political organizing. I've been like learning a lot about our movement. And we were all changed. So I didn't go back to the place. I went again and started a new community over like I started understanding this community that I was part of, that I am part of, but actually like having a different way of photographing more from the inside. The belonging part was not a wish, was something that I was actually feeling from the community. And this pride, I was able to bring some of these images to this public space in São Paulo, which is called Lago do Arushi. And it's a space where, like dictatorship would send like police to hunt trans women and kill them. It's a place where we decided to stay. It's a place where all people from the outskirts come to join, the queer people. So this is our queer sanctuary. So I brought a conversation from a rural queer sanctuary in the States to a urban queer sanctuary in São Paulo, which is couldn't be more urban. And right now, people are there, like, like they're using like, so there's like big, it's all in fabric, really big and high up. And the kids sometimes use it as a net to play ball. Or,
Right.
people sit down the lamppost, or, it's like very interactive with the city. And I was afraid people wouldn't like it or would like destroy it or steal it. The people over there is like adore, like people are really taking care of the work, and it's being like really emotional for me to be able to do our biggest work now with the you know the partnership with Pride. We had our character as the center of the Pride poster. It's like a ballot box mascot. It's 18 feet tall in the main street of Brazil. So all of the funders were there, my friends were there, the actors were there, but actually it was really important for me to also be an artist in that moment as well, right? And many of the ideas of the unapologeticness, that I try to bring, the idea of creating like a safe space within organizations for our people to thrive, also comes from the experiences that I have in this sanctuary. So bringing them to, the public space in São Paulo is something that really makes a lot of sense, and is also my offering to the community, right? So it's a 24-hour exhibition. And there's a pamphlet that people can get like this with one of the images from the exhibition. Oh, this one's stolen, this one. And with the text. And you can only get it in the local commerce around the square. And you get it for free. But I tell people, please buy something there, like strengthen the commerce of queer people around the square, because so it's been amazing to do it's been crazy, but also amazing to do this at the same time and do
Mhm.
this,
Congratulations.
connect these both worlds, political organizing art, because I think
Listen,
they are
John
one
and
and
I
the same.
always say it, queer people know how to wear many hats and do it successfully. So keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing at both, and we love it. But Guy, we could sit here all day and talk about all of this
Yes, I
stuff, and you're
know,
beautiful.
I
So,
know.
but you listen to our podcast, so you know that Out Loud and Laughing, we have our sacred tradition before we let our guests go, and we have
I'm
to
so nervous
play
about this.
this. It's okay. We're playing this or that, but we're calling this one the Fine Art Edition because you, my sir, are fine art.
It's time for another round of this or that, the unhinged get to know you game.
Okay, no overthinking, no artistic nuance, just the very first thing that hits your spirit.
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay, I
I'm
go
listening.
first. I go
Yes,
first.
yes, yes. Yes,
Okay,
yes, go.
capturing the perfect shot or experiencing the moment raw?
Experience the moment raw.
Mm, okay. Scruff or no scruff?
Scruff. Scruff. Yes, baby.
Yeah, make it
Yes,
manly.
baby.
Yes.
No, no, no. Yes, scruff. Yes.
You need the hair. Okay, do you prefer like silk sheets or sleeping under the stars?
Oh, baby. That is so hard. I prefer silk sheets, but I love staying long with watching the stars.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I do
you
this
probably
very
get
long.
really good star. You probably get amazing stars from where you're at.
Yes, like not in São Paulo, but in the mountain, it's like the
Yeah.
best sky in Brazil. It's amazing.
I'm over here thinking if you call watching the clouds a parade of clouds, I can only imagine what you called the stars because that was such a great metaphor, a parade of clouds. I loved that earlier. So great.
I said the sky. Sometimes I say the sky has chicken pox
Box.
So
because
true.
they're like stars everywhere. Like
Yeah.
we can't even. It's contagious. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Love it, the contagion of it.
yeah.
Do you prefer a crowded gallery opening or a private viewing with a lover?
I like the
Do you like
crowded
that we threw the lover in there, like, as a little, just really
I love the lover, but private view, and I like the crowded gallery opening. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like. It's like a birthday, Everybody, people hug you and say congratulations, which in Portuguese is the same word that we use for happy birthday,
Is
right? We
it?
use the same word. Yeah, parabéns is something that we say for birthday and also for congratulations. So we use the same word. So it feels like a birthday. Like you see people you don't often see, and these people come to you with a lot of love and say you congratulations. So it's a birthday.
Look at
The
us,
more you
John. We're
know.
learning today.
The more you
Yeah.
know.
The more you
Yeah.
know. Okay,
Yeah, isn't it?
Ghee.
It's same in Spanish. It's feliz
Felicidad
cumple
cumpleaños, feliz cumpleaños. But we have
or
also, like,
congratulaciones.
uh no, I think, like, cumpleaños, like, you finished a year. It's, like, actually, like, it's, like, what
Yeah,
it translates into, so I think I don't know, they
Yeah,
don't have anything like that in Portuguese?
we just say parabéns.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. I like that. That's so
I
much
like that.
easier. Mhm.
So much
Yeah,
easier.
yeah.
Okay, do you prefer the perfect butt or the perfect chest?
I don't like perfect. I like scruff.
You like
I
scruff.
like
Oh,
body fat. I like, people when they're natural. I like
mm.
people
Yes.
where they are. So like I don't like perfect either chest or butt. They're usually too hard to lay my head on. I like
Yeah.
non-perfect.
Best answer that we've honestly ever had.
I know. Now I'm really curious to see where you take this one. Shower or bath?
God, I prefer bath so much. Every time I see a bath, I jump in it, you know?
Me
It's
too. I get
such a bummer that
excited,
hotels don't have baths anymore.
especially in New York City. You're not gonna get a bathtub.
Yeah, I'm like people were inviting me there, but they never have baths. I'm like, "What? My
Not
chance to
fun.
relax," Float.
Okay, you've heard this question before, and you can take it how you want it, but we like to play baseball and out loud and laughing. So if we're playing baseball, are we pitching in the game or are we catching in the game?
I
He likes it natural, Brian.
like everything, everything. As long as I'm dealing with the whole person. I don't like to deal, with the bad
Yes.
or with I like to deal, I'm talking with I'm here in the presence of another human being, which is
Yes.
beautiful and queer like me. Let's honor this sacred moment. Like this is my idea of the
Play
best
the whole
encounter.
game.
And I like to do this with even with, like random people that I meet. Like don't yeah, I think bat and catch, yeah. Pitch and catch, both. Yeah. It's
We
beautiful.
totally picked up on that when we met you in person. It was a 2-minute meeting that felt like a little bit longer. So you're putting in the work in, and you're putting your money where your mouth is there. Um,
Thank you so
but
much.
yeah, of course. Would you prefer to be in the studio during morning light or do late night inspiration in the dark?
I like morning light for photographing, but late night for diving into work and nobody talk to me about it and like let me finish this. I love working over,
Me too.
especially photography. It's like
Yeah, that
I
makes
could go
sense.
for hours, hours. Yeah,
Okay, this one's hard. This is our last one.
yeah.
Do you want to be remembered for the art you left behind or remembered for the heart you gave the world?
Or the heart I gave the world. Definitely the heart. Definitely the heart. Yes, yes. This is what. Yeah, this is what stays.
Yeah,
This is
you're
what
doing both to
stays.
me.
Like without love, there's no revolution.
There is no
And
art without heart.
the revolution will become will be queer or it will not be. We are the only one. The queer-led revolution is the only possible change we have because these are the people who bring innovation. These are the people who had to innovate all of our lives because the world were not meant for us. And so, if we need innovation, we need queer people. So, yeah.
Dee, you're an absolute gem. Thank you for being so incredibly generous with your story and your vulnerability and your time today. Thank you for doing the work that helps keep our history alive.
Thank you so much for opening the space for this. I'm really, really excited to see this out. Please follow Vote LGBT in Instagram. It's all in Portuguese. I'm so sorry, but
No, that's
my
great.
yeah, but there's translation and AI. But we've been
Exactly.
doing like our website is actually translatable automatically, and that's amazing. Like vote.org.br. This is like beautiful website, all in English
And
for you.
Guy, where can also people follow the amazing art that you're doing?
Oh, yes, it's Ghee Mohallem,
Yes.
Mohallem.com is my website, and Ghee.Mohallem is my handle at Instagram, but I'm very scarce at both.
Thank you for listening, chosen family. Gee, thank you. And of course, to everyone, remember to live your life out loud, keep laughing, and go create something beautiful this week. We love you. We mean it.
Bye-bye. We love you.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.
And now stick around to watch the highlight reel from Outright International's 2026 Celebration of Courage Awards Gala.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. We need you.
It is a precarious time right now for LGBTQIA plus people all over the globe, but we can get through this with each other. And just thank you outright for just being there.